Okay, this video is for the drawing portion of the Jen Arajni landscape in perspective. So when we draw in perspective, we have to start with a horizon line to establish where is the ground and where is the sky. You as an artist get to choose where you put the horizon line depending on how much ground you want and how much sky. I position mine so that I have more room down here on the ground and a little bit less of the sky. I also used kind of a wavy line for mine, but that is also an artist's choice, whether you use a straight line or a wavy line. Next, we're going to draw some mountains. Now, the mountains can be kind of confusing because what's going to happen is they start on our horizon line, but they go up into the sky. So it's touching the earth, and then it's going up into the sky. I am using slightly wavy lines to kind of make it look like the Rocky Mountains, but if you wanted yours to be more like our Appalachian Mountains that we have in the South, they would probably be less pointy, more just kind of like rounded mounds. What I'm doing here is I'm creating more space by putting some mountains farther into the distance. So you'll notice there's some overlapping happening. These ones that are further away, I can't see the whole mountain because part of it is hidden behind this one in front. So creating those overlapping areas is going to make it look like there's more space and distance in your picture. Okay, next, we're going to create some shadow on these mountains. So I'm going to go through and draw kind of a line to create the left side of each mountain. I'm imagining that the light is shining in from the right, so that's going to create shadow on the left side of each mountain. Now, hopefully I will have shown you some different shading techniques, so you can choose how you shade these. What I'm doing right now is called hatching. So hatching is just using little straight lines to shade. The closer together those lines are, the darker the shading is going to be. If you space the lines out a little bit more, your shading is going to be more of a medium value. So I'm going through the left side of each mountain and adding the shadow to kind of make it look a little bit more 3D. Hopefully you can see it kind of starting to come to life. Okay, now there might be a little bit of shadow in other places too. So for example, this one's behind the two in front. So there's probably gonna be shadow cast on this mountain behind too. I'm gonna switch to do some stippling. Stippling is using little dots to shade. I'm gonna shade those areas in the background using my stippling, my little dots, to show that there's some shadow where the overlap happens. You also might have, because these are, you know, rocky mountains made out of rocks, you also might have some little craggy areas where the shadows catch inside the rock. So you could do that by doing just little bits of stippling on certain areas of your mountains. Okay, those look much more 3D now. So we've already started to create some space and distance. While we're up here, let's think about what else might be in the sky. If it's daytime, there might be a sun. If it's nighttime, there might be a moon. I think in my case, I'm going to make it the moon. Because the light is shining from the right, that means I would put my moon up here on the right side. So that I imagine that that's my light source for the picture. I could put birds flying. They would be very small because they're far away. I could have clouds if I wanted to, but I'm going to keep mine pretty simple because we're going to add some cool colors to the background later, and that's going to leave me lots of space to paint those colors. Okay, now in the middle of my horizon, I'm going to put a little dot. This is called the vanishing point, and we're going to create two lines that are going to come together at the vanishing point. So you can imagine that this is a path going back into the distance, a road, a railroad track, a river. It is up to you. Mine's going to be a river, so I'm going to start at the vanishing point, and I'm going to draw a wavy line that goes all the way to the bottom of my page and off. I'm going to go back to the vanishing point. I'm going to repeat those steps, but this time it's going to go out to the left, and I need to make sure that it gets wider and wider as it comes down my page. So the goal is that it goes from wide, getting narrower, comes together, vanishes at the vanishing point. If you do it reverse, if you have it, some people will do this, they'll go skinny, it gets big, but then they get skinny again, it's going to throw the space and distance off. It won't look like it's flowing into the background. Now, because mine is a river, I'm going to add some details. There'll probably be rocks along that river. When it's far away, it's small. When it's up close, it's going to be a lot bigger. So my boulders up here in the river are going to be a lot bigger. I'm going to have some rocks on the side next to my river. You can add whatever details you'd like to yours. If you're doing a road, maybe you have dashes in the road instead of rocks. And then to make this look like it's flowing, I'm going to add some little ripples. Okay, now those shading techniques we used for the mountains, we can do the same thing for whatever details we added. So on my rocks, I'm going to add a little bit of shading on the left side of the rocks to kind of bring them to life a little bit. Now for all the other space in my landscape right here, you get to choose what you put. It could be that you only add nature things. I'm going to add some grass by my river. It could be that you want to show an environment where you've been before. Maybe you've been camping next to a river and you want to draw your campsite. It is really up to you. I have this sheet, if you would like to use it, that gives you some ideas of some things you can add. So be creative. This is just a starting point. You can add whatever you want, but I do want you to keep in mind space and perspective. So if I am drawing a deer and it's way back here, is it going to be big or is it going to be little? Yes, it's going to be very little. So if I'm drawing my deer and it's way back here in the distance, it can't be a giant deer because it's really far away. It would not appear that large to me. So I can't add a lot of detail. Maybe that's all I see for my deer. Maybe I can't see like the eyes and the nose. It's just going to appear like a simple shape. If I'm doing trees, when they are up close, they're going to appear to be a lot larger. And then as they go back in the distance, it's going to start to get smaller. It's going to start to get smaller. And if it's way back here near the horizon line, those trees are going to appear itty bitty. So if I want to draw a whole forest back here, I'm just going to see these tiny little basic shapes of trees, not a lot of detail. Now for all of this part, we're sticking with black and white. So if you want to add details, you're either, depending on the size of the thing, coloring it in with your Sharpie if it's a small thing, or just adding shading. So I could go back to using my heart hatch marks or my stippling to add shading to those objects. But we're not adding any color because the only place that's going to have color is the sky to create that really cool contrast between the two. So take your time, add some really cool details to your landscape, keeping in mind perspective. If it's close, it's big. If it's far, it's small.